Yo, what do they call me? They call me Devin Zoolander. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Yeah, they call me Devin Zoolander. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I look good on camera. You know I look good on camera. Yo, what's up? It's your homie, Devin Zoolander. You're now watching the Devin Zoolander Show. I am so happy today because sitting next to me, I have the wonderful, talented, gorgeous Uju. How are you today?
I am wonderful. I'm glad we are here and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. Thank you.
That's great. I can tell by the way you're shifting in your chair, you're comfortable. Now, anyway, so I see here, obviously I'm not running the teleprompter right here, but from what I can see, you are a Nigerian American mom. You are a self-mastery coach and the owner of Naturally BeYOUtiful Holistic Salon. So that's a lot. So can you tell me about, like, how did you get to owning your own salon?
Okay, so that's a very interesting story. I actually, so I've always been good with my hands. Even as a child, I was always like creating things, making things out of paper, making things out of like, I don't know, putting toiletries in the bathroom together, concoctions, just always making something artistic, very artistic. So, doing hair is an outlet for that creativity, which I'm grateful for. So it started as a side hustle in DC. My best friend Sade, shout out to Sade, she suggested that I started my locks in 2010, and I was retwisting my own hair. And, she suggested that I retwist other people's hair and actually charge for it. So that's where it started. So I, went to Vista printed my little cards, bought my clips and my lock gel, and was traveling to my clients. And that's where it started in DC. And then I relocated back to this area in 2016, and then started, started accepting clients, and decided that I was going to really pour into this gift. And that's when I, went to cosmetology school and everything like that. And then afterwards, so I started traveling to my clients, and I was deciding if I was going to kind of coin that and coin in-home luxury services, or if I was going to, get a space. And so I was weighing the pros and cons, and I decided I was going to get a space. And it's really interesting because the day that I decided I was going to get a salon, we had gotten out of school early, and I had a couple hours before I needed to pick my son up. So I'm like, okay, well, let me do my due diligence and look around, see what I could find. And I literally went up the street. This is 5 minutes or so after I made the decision, I drove up the street and I saw the for rent sign on my shop.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, that's great. And I knew that the barbershop, there used to be a barbershop, Urban Image Barbershop used to be there, and they had moved across the street. So I'm like, so I already knew what it looked like inside, and I knew that it was a good space for my type of business. And so I went across the street and talked with Dom Stokes, the owner of Urban Image, who's really wonderful. And I wanted to just get some insight on the space. Like, how was your experience in the space? Is there anything I should know? Does it have mice or anything? What should I know? Before I get into it. And he hooked me up with the landlord. I mean, he helped me. He sold me like the package that I started with, the dryers, the sinks, the chairs, the guest chair. I mean, everything that I needed to start. He's sold it to me at a very reasonable price, and he had the people that helped set up the shop when he was there set it up for me, because I didn't really have like those resources. So I really feel, I say all of that to say, God definitely made a way for it to happen. I just walked the steps, but God orchestrated the path for sure. So I mean, I'm grateful for it. It's definitely been flourishing. It's been a wonderful journey of growth, of learning, of expansion. So I'm glad we're here. The neighborhood is very welcoming. Um, people in the neighborhood, even if they're not clients, they stop in and they say hello. So that's great.
So I want to thank you very much for sharing that. I appreciate the full story of how you got started. And now I would like to ask you about the self-mastery coach part of your life. So can you just tell me, what is that?
Okay, so that is that's a really special endeavor for me, and it's a blossoming endeavor that I truly feel is my life purpose. And so self mastery, it's really it's really about just being the best that you can be. So it's about removing limitations. It's about expanding yourself, like really getting to know your truth and expanding your truth. It's really just about being the best that you can be, and in all ways possible. And that, you get to a point in your journey where you really face hard truths, and you let go of hard set patterns and things like that. And that's that piece, I think, is where I come in, because that's the hard part. And that's the part that a lot of us, we as far as like personal development and things go, a lot of times we do a lot of work on the surface. But the magic happens when we go a little bit deeper, and I feel like I've been called to navigate that because it's just natural for me. So it's a lot of shadow work, a lot of just really understand self-awareness, and really just understanding who you are and living intentionally in harmony with that. So that means setting boundaries. That means, just really intentionally practicing self-honor, and so the self-mastery coaching, I have a program that's ready to launch. Okay. It's the yes, so I'm excited about that. It's the Whole and Healed Self-Mastery Program, and that's pretty much what it is. So we go through a journey of self-awareness, where we kind of take the blinders off. We take ego out the way. We try to see past the conditioning from society, what we think is acceptable, which may or may not be in harmony with our truth, or may not come from our truth. A lot of times it's influenced by what other people say and what other, external sources say. And so we start with that, and we kind of break through those layers, and we take a real honest look at who we are, where we are, and how we got there.
Just to get back to it, you were telling me a little bit about self-mastery coaching, and you were telling me about the program.
Okay. Oh yeah. So it's the self-awareness piece, where you just take a look at yourself, but the goal of that part is to look at yourself without judgment. So that's when we remove the filters. So that's what I was saying about removing the filters. We got to remove the ego, and that's where the conditioning and things come. The judgment comes from the conditioning.
So I have a couple of things to add to that, because I think it's wonderful the direction you're going. So some of the things that I've dealt with internally, and I think that all human beings have dealt with, are feelings of shame, and also I looked at, because Brene Brown is a scholar that specializes in talking about shame, and it's kind of like when Jay-Z, I'm sure he took this from someone else, but when he said you can't heal what you won't reveal. And also I'm learning a little bit, I haven't done it extensively, but you could probably help me with this, but about the term self-compassion, and like when you give yourself self-talks, you have to be kinder and gentler with yourself, because I kind of think about the way we would talk to like a little infant or something like that is upset or that is going through something, or a little kid. And it's like, well, if we're really thinking about where the kid is in their development, we're not going to just start yelling and be like, I can't believe you did that. It's going to be like, why did you do that? Don't worry, it's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. But as adults, when we talk to ourselves,
we don't have that same grace. Yes. Yeah, that's really deep.
Yeah. So when you were talking about that, that made me think about shame. That made me think about the lack of self-compassion that we have. And I think it really shows in the way that we project what we're going through onto other people, and how that manifests in things like jealousy and pettiness. Because one last thing I'll say, and then I'll give it back to you, is I did the interview I did before was with Chris Norman, and he specializes in taking pinpoints and creating portraits out of them. So he brought over one of Nipsey Hussle that he did, and he did another one of Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out.
Okay.
So
right.
So you should definitely check it out when you get a chance. But we were, I lost it. Wait a minute. No.
So no, we was talking about, you was mentioning how we don't have the same compassion, and then you start talking about Chris Norman.
There's a connection. Tangential Dev is taking over. All right, there's a reason why I brought him up. I guess with him, I'll pivot to this. We kind of started talking about imposter syndrome a little bit, and we were just really talking about what it like. So with self-mastery, I feel like with that kind of coaching, with the program that you're doing, that can help people to navigate through that and overcome that. Because for you, for example, you've achieved some things. We don't have to run off accomplishments, but I know that you've achieved some success in your career, and there are a lot of things that you probably can be proud of. Yeah. But are there ever times where you feel like, well, yeah, I'm doing a lot of great things, but am I doing enough? Was this good enough? What do you do?
Yeah, I have that a lot. You know, like when I question myself. Yeah, I have that a lot. You know, I'm not perfect. So that's one thing that my therapist and I have talked about over our sessions, like the last 12 weeks or so. It's a big thing. It's, just self-compassion, because just finding a space to accept those imperfections and to not punish myself for that, and not, just kind of just maintain that grace, give myself some grace. But yeah, I have those feelings a lot. Like, I question myself with how I'm running my business, because you strike a balance between running a profitable and scalable business and not rubbing your clients the wrong way. You want to make your clients feel appreciated and stuff. And even like the person that I am, because I know, like, I used to have low self-esteem. I used to have very low self-esteem. And I used to be like a people pleaser. And I think that is the reason why I'm so adamant in, just kind of being who I am now. Like, why I'm so resistant to internalizing other people's judgment, because it's sort of like a post-break free moment where I have internalized people's judgment, and I've made decisions to try to make certain impressions on people, as opposed to what I wanted. But, you bear the brunt of that. So when you feel the limitation that comes from that, when you do something that you don't really want to do, you feel the dissatisfaction that comes from that,
Sorry for the interruption, but yeah. You were saying.
So, no, I was just saying, like, what was I saying?
Okay. But let me try, right, because I did it earlier too. So let's see, we're talking about people pleaser.
Oh, right. So I think that's why I'm so adamant now with just being comfortable in my space and just affirming that, for myself, because I know the other side of that spectrum. So I mean, I definitely do deal with it, and even within myself, like, I check myself certain times. Again, I'm not perfect. Like, there's times, like, even now, I got a little frustrated when you was working with the camera, and I'm like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but then I check myself, like, chill, like, is he, he's doing his best and stuff like that. So, I mean, I say that to say, like, I definitely have those moments. I guess I just take them a moment at a time and I don't punish myself for them. Like, we're human, you know, we're human, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to talk with a lot of people, you know, like interacting with my clients, because we're in the same space for hours at a time. And I mean, I'm a social person, so we talk and we share, and that's, you know, that feeling of wondering if you're acceptable. Like, you always have to affirm your acceptance, you know, you always have to affirm your validation, like your validity, you know, because that it comes in question, you know, and even the people that we feel are so solid, you know, other people might look at me and think, oh, she's so solid, like she's just grounded, like she just Uju, you know. But I have those moments too, you know, and I just affirm. I've gotten to the point where I can affirm myself, like, you cool, it's all right, you know, you're human, you don't have to be perfect, you know, you can just be you, and that's fine. So that's the saving grace.
Yeah, well, I thank you very much for taking me through that, because I wanted to know more about it, because I see it, and I think that sometimes, or I'll speak for myself, I think sometimes when I see people that tend to gravitate towards more, let's say, holistic methods of healing, sometimes it's like, okay, are you incense lady, or did you really study? And I'm not saying that about you, but I mean just in our community in general, because I love all of us and I support all of us in whatever we're doing. But I think though that there might be some people out there that just kind of might be, you feel like, do you really believe that? And then there are others where you're kind of like, okay, you know, I know this person. They're about that, because with you, with the self-mastery coach thing, it doesn't, at least from where I sit, it doesn't appear that that's about so much about making money and just trying to be like the global mastery coaching person, self-mastery person. It seems like, in addition to the business that you're already very passionate about, this is something that you're additionally passionate about. But what I gather is that there's an outlet for me to monetize what my skill is, and that is the loctician maintenance thing that you do. But also there's an opportunity for you to help your people and help anyone, not just black people, but anyone that wants to be the best version of themselves. So I see the difference. Yeah. Thank you for articulating that. That was very, very well put. No problem. You know, I do this. But now let's see. Right. We got one more serious thing, and then we'll get to the fun stuff. All right. So serious thing. So the third thing, and we didn't get to read all of your intro. I just want to make it clear though that you are Obianuju. I tried. Obianuju Anyaogu. Okay. Uju, right. Right. So that's your full name, and we want to give respect to your Nigerian heritage.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I actually did go to is it considered, what is Niger?
Nigeria. Well, it depends. If it's Niger, then that's...
Well, I meant like in
Niger?
Yeah.
That's Nigeria. Naija?
Yeah.
That's Nigeria.
Because sometimes, you know, it's just like, that's who? Uju. Oh, same thing. So I just, so as an outsider, because I actually had, well, what tribe are you? Igbo. Okay. My line brother, his name is Adiemi Ogunyeleka. And
he's Yoruba.
Damn, come on, man. But I forgot you are Nigerian, so you would know. Yeah, but he is, right, he's Yoruba. And he got married about 8 years ago, and I got to be...
at the wedding.
Yeah.
Isn't it so lit? Listen, I just love... Can we just take a moment? Yeah, okay. Because I love Nigerian culture. And I just love, like, when we have celebrations, when we get together and we get dressed and we play the music and the food is there and the vibe.
Money dance.
Oh my goodness. It's just so regal. Yes, we making it rain. It is just such a vibe. Like, my sister got married 4/3/21, right?
Yeah.
April 3rd.
Right.
Of this year, and I'm still high off of that wedding. Like, this past weekend I was looking at video clips, like, just reliving the moment. It is really a vibe.
Well, yeah, I think So to extend it beyond Nigerian ceremonies specifically, I would say, so black weddings in general, from my perspective, growing up, going to them, like they were always fun. But then when I attended a Nigerian one, and I got to be in the wedding, and I got to wear the clothes, and they had two ceremonies, and the one ceremony where we're wearing the tuxes, in Jesus' name, and like it was just like, it's just like everybody was praying, like it was just
in
like
Jesus' name,
right,
in Jesus' name,
right, and then because if this was in a black American household, you know, where I grew up, it'd be like, Father God, and I thank you, Father God, and I want to thank you for passing the peas like you used to do, like you know, and whatnot.
That is so funny.
Okay.